What's up guys, welcome to another video with your buddy the Rollercoaster Crafter, and today we're going to be counting down my top 15 favorite NEX roller coasters that I have built. So I get asked from a lot of my fans who watch my YouTube videos and also from a lot of family members too, what is my favorite coaster that I have built? And really, I don't know which one because I keep constantly watching it, and the more I build coasters, the harder it is to decide on which coaster I think is my favorite. So what I decided to do was I went through my playlist of NEX roller coasters and I built a total of 45 roller coasters. So yes, that will not include my recreation of the Indiana Jones ride because that doesn't necessarily count as a roller coaster. That's more so a dark ride. And after looking through them countless times, I have finally narrowed down a top 15 list. Now, this is all interchangeable because I keep constantly building roller coasters, and the more I build them, the more my skill progressively gets better. So some of these coasters in this list are from years back when the channel first started. However, they still hold a special place in my heart as one of my favorites. And this list consists of both recreations I've done as well as some of my original rides. So without further ado, we're gonna get straight into the list and hope you guys enjoy. So starting things off at number 15, we have Goliath. This is a recreation from Six Flags Great America, and this was one of the first few coasters that made it to the channel in the year 2017 when I was first starting to post NEX roller coasters on the channel. I really love this coaster because it was very short and simplistic layout, so it wasn't a pain to build. However, there were still a few kinks I did have to work out, but compared to the rest of the coasters I have built more recently, this one, I mean, it just doesn't do it justice of how good my coasters are now. However, this one was my favorite out of all the ones I built in 2017. Next at number 14, we have Clash. This is one of my original roller coasters, and I made it to look like a wooden roller coaster. And for those of you guys that don't know, I really love building coasters that are tall with compact layouts. And this one was basically the definition of it. It isn't significantly tall, but its compact layout was something that I just love to watch go. I could watch this thing for hours. I would just lay down on the ground as I turn on the motors and just watch this thing go run along the track. This isn't my absolute favorite original roller coaster. However, it was still fun to build, and it was a quick one as well. I built this in about 2 days and then pretty much left it up for a few more until I had to move on to the next big recreation. So this was just something on the side that I thought I might do, and just out of it, I got to watch it run a lot. At number 13, we have Iron Gwazi. Now, this was one of the few roller coasters that I got to build as a recreation before the actual coaster in real life was built. Now, what I love about this coaster is it's an RMC, so it was pretty simple to build, and also its layout was just super complex, and it was also compact at the same time. It was a little more spread out than some others. However, I did love going through this layout and making all of these distinct turns and all that. And this coaster was also super cool to watch run along. The hang time I saw on the barrel roll was just like, yes, that was an absolute perfect moment. So this coaster was super cool to just build, and then all around my room, I made it super huge as well. So number 12 is Joker from Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. This is my home park roller coaster that I've ridden numerous times, and it is actually my favorite roller coaster in real life. So in NEX, it was no different. It was a super easy build, and RMCs are really like my forte of NEX roller coasters to build because they're so simple. The hard thing is just getting the shaping and the layout correct, and to make sure it looks as accurate as possible. This one, I believe, is one of my most accurate RMCs that I've built, and I loved watching this coaster run through. At number 11, we have Incredicoaster from Disney's California Adventure. This is the launch coaster themed to the infamous movie The Incredibles, and this was an absolute awesome coaster to build with very minimal theming. However, the storytelling is, through the roof for this coaster. You're basically chasing Jack through the coaster adventure, and I absolutely love building the tunnels and doing the lights for this roller coaster, and also the action figures I got to integrate into all the tunnels as well. This is a super awesome coaster to build. Honestly, I felt like I could have done better and gone a little bit further with this coaster, but for what it has, it looks absolutely amazing, and that is why it is number 11. It doesn't exactly crack the top 10, however, it is right there, right good enough for my liking. And now we're at the top 10. Number 10 is Orion from Kings Island. This is the most recent coaster that I have built and posted to the channel, and obviously this coaster was very, very big. And let me tell you this, B&Ms are super duper hard to recreate in my opinion, just because their track style is very, very distinct, and you have to make sure you get it just right and make everything super smooth as can be. And this coaster, luckily, I had a simple layout, so it didn't take super long to build. However, most of the elements on this coaster I want to make sure were as smooth as possible, and also I had to make sure the train ran on it without having any delays or valleying over hills or anything. Number 9 is West Coast Racers from Six Flags Magic Mountain. This is one of the first coasters that I built before the actual coaster got released. This is obviously a racing coaster and a launch coaster at that, with a compact layout. Not super tall, but its layout was super fun to mess around with, and I love to also sit or lay down in the middle and just watch the coaster run around me. That's one of my favorite things to do with Connect roller coasters that have like circular shaped or circuit layouts. The racing element of this coaster was super awesome to build with, and the compact layout over there in the giant spaghetti bowl section, that was just super fun to mess around with as well. So this coaster, super cool build. Now at number 8 we have Steel Vengeance from Cedar Point. Now this is the only coaster from Cedar Point that is really my absolute favorite, and I love this coaster really because of its circuit layout to some extent, but I loved also how the low to the ground moments really intertwined with the structure itself. It weaved in and out of it, and it also ran on alongside some of the previous sections of track, and I just loved watching this coaster run. I also made this about as tall as me, which is a hair under 6 feet, so this coaster was just a menacing thing to look at, and I also just absolutely loved having to build around the lift hill and everything, and also just making this structure look as huge as possible because this was one of the big debut coasters in 2018. At number 7 we have Savage Snowstorm, another original coaster that I have made, and this was basically our Christmas tree for 2018 because we did not want to go out and buy a tree. We wanted to be creative. So I built this dueling roller coaster where essentially 2 tracks go up the center of the tree and then do this complex layout all around it, cascading all the way down to the base of the tree. I basically married Matterhorn and Space Mountain together and basically made this giant roller coaster, and then basically the support structure had this cone shape to make it look like a Christmas tree, and that way we could hang our ornaments and everything else onto the tree. This was one fun build to make, and it's probably the tallest thing I've ever built as well. And I just had a lot of fun building this tree, and also showing it off to my family was one cool thing I got to do too. At number 6 we have Broad and Narrow. This is another original coaster that I made, and originally I made this for the National Fine Arts Festival that is held in my state in California and also in Nevada as well. Eventually this hit the national round and won the category for 3D art. So this was one cool coaster to make, and I love this coaster because of its message, and the message is based off a Bible verse known as Matthew 17:13 through 14. Basically that's saying the highway is to hell and is wide, many choose that path. However, the narrow gate is to life, and very few find that gate. So I had a lot of fun making this coaster. It wasn't a small footprint, and not a lot of the track work you can see. However, the theming is the main takeaway of this coaster, and it absolutely does its job. Now we have reached our top 5, and these next 5 coasters are some of my favorite things that I've ever created, and all of these were in association with a partner of mine named Lula May. And if you don't know who that is, you guys can check that out after you watch the rest of this video, because these are some of the creations we've made. At number 5 we have Volcano the Blast coaster. This is the first coaster that myself and Lula May collaborated on. This is from King's Dominion. Unfortunately it is a defunct ride, but I thought we would pay homage to this coaster because it was such an awesome ride. The 2 launches that it has were absolutely awesome to make, and also the volcano was basically the signature and the centerpiece of this entire ride. I had so much fun making that, and Lula May just made it look so much better with all the painting and everything, and also her knowledge of knowing what rock work would look like, and obviously it turned out great. At number 4 we have the Incredible Hulk coaster from Universal Islands of Adventure, and this coaster was such a big thing to make. Obviously with the tunnel and everything we could have done better, but the rest of the coaster was pretty dang awesome, but still hard to make because, like I said, B&Ms are very hard to recreate. They have a very specific track style, and I wanted to do my absolute best to make sure that this had no mistakes in it, because this was a very picturesque and notable roller coaster to a lot of enthusiasts, so I want to make sure we get it right, and luckily we did, and this was one of my absolute favorite coasters and videos to put together at that, so I absolutely will cherish this coaster. Now we have the top 3, and number 3 is my favorite original coaster so far, and that is Polaris. We built this in my bedroom, and this was like a space themed type of roller coaster where we have the black hole nebula at the top where you're basically being sucked up through, and this was basically to mimic what a polar coaster would look like. Obviously there are none in the world, but we know the concept of it and know what they look like, and on this one I wanted to make obviously the polar coaster part of it, and also we have a little bit of an out and back section on the right of it, which was absolutely awesome. And this was one of the first few coasters I used the Mindstorms, the Lego Mindstorms computer on to make an automatic system, so that way I could just sit back and watch this coaster run. And it was so cool to watch these tiny little cars run on this thing. It was almost like watching an endless marble run on this coaster. So I had so much fun creating this compact, tall roller coaster, and also doing all the effects and everything. It was so much fun. And now we have runner-up for number 1, which is our most recent roller coaster we've made, and this is Smiler from Alton Towers. Oh my gosh, this coaster is compact as can be. And also, the marmalizer on this thing took so long to build. However, it was worth it. As you can see, the glow-in-the-dark effects were so cool to watch. I could not take my eye off this coaster when I turned it on. I legit will leave it on until batteries ran out. So I really love this coaster. After about a month and a half of constructing it, I thought it was never going to end, but finally we got to the end and it was worth the wait and the effort to put in for this coaster. So I absolutely love this one. However, it does not compare to the number 1 spot, which is Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure from Islands of Adventure. This coaster was such a long process to build. And obviously, as you can see by all the components of this coaster, you can tell that we poured our hearts into this thing. And it took so long to make that it ended up taking about 2.5 months to make this coaster. And also, all the components on there were constantly refined, and we had to refine just a lot of the theming for this coaster. And this thing was just so awesome in the end. We ended up watching it a few times around, and then also filming it was so much fun, and also putting all the magical creatures, matching up with the adventure audio, and it was just such a cool coaster to make. We will forever have this in our hearts, and I don't know if there will be a coaster in the future to surpass this as our number 1, but we shall see. We shall see what the future holds, and yeah, that is why this coaster is my number 1. As you can see by the complexity and just the amount of art poured into this coaster, we absolutely love it. So there you guys have it. Thank you guys so much for watching today's countdown of my top 15 roller coasters that I have ever built. Be sure to stay tuned for a lot more coasters coming through to you guys. And also, if you would like to check these out, you can go ahead and click the card here to check out my entire playlist of Connect's roller coasters, and a lot more will be on the way. So I can't wait to start putting them down for you guys the remaining of this winter and during spring. So be sure to stay tuned. Connect's roller coasters will forever be the crown jewel of the Coaster Crafter channel. So don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel for more videos as I'll keep them coming. Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next time on the Coaster Crafter channel. Peace!